Hi, welcome to Mom Talk. Today we're going to be discussing autism. So, what is autism?
Autism is a pervasive developmental disorder. And actually there's an autism spectrum, and autism is just one kind of piece of the puzzle. There's Asperger's at one end, which is usually pretty high functioning, and there's Rett syndrome, which usually affects more girls than boys, and it's at the very low functioning.
So what are one of the early signs, or some of the early signs of autism?
Well, there's 3 different distinctions of where it impacts their lives, which is communication, social behavior, and also a repetition of behavior. So those are like the 3 main places that if you see something that is, I want to say abnormal, but
like you're worried about a specific thing, like they're not talking to you as much or something.
not talking to you, not making eye contact, stacking up trains or cars in a certain pattern, telling you about one certain thing over and over and over again, constantly. They don't forget it. They keep on doing it. And then, of course, if you have a group of children playing together and you notice one child has nothing to do with those children. Right. Even the children try to engage the other child and almost like they don't exist. There's usually
something going on there.
Yeah.
Is there lack of awareness?
Definitely.
A lot of lack of awareness.
Well, they're in their own world so much. And they're very particular. They like things their way. Like there might be kind of OCD type behaviors where it's like, no, I have to shut the door. And if anybody else shuts it, I have to go back and open it and shut it again.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
definitely. Wow. And then you have self-stim type things, flapping hands, tapping things, repetitive behaviors to look out for.
Oh. Well,
it's usually in front of the face. They want to see it. They want to see the action that's happening. Yeah. It's comforting to them to see those things. Just like a massage would be comforting to you. Seeing that movement is
comforting to them.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you, Jenny, for agreeing to talk about autism. When did you find out your son was autistic?
I found out when he was 23 months old. Like right before his 2nd birthday, we were seeing between the stage of, or between 18 months, he wasn't hitting a lot of the milestones other 18 months olds hit. He was a really, actually, at least in my opinion, for a first child, he was a really good baby, you know. And he made very good eye contact with me as a baby. You know, he always very, I thought, content and happy, you know, but it was around 18 months, and I took him in a little bit after, actually, his 18-month checkup. My husband and I noticed a lack of, obviously, talking other children his age, but then I was like, well, maybe just a slow talker, you know, and as a mother, you want to accept your child the way they are, and their progress, you try not to compare them to other children, but, you know, right before, it was between 18 months and 2 years, right around there we took him in, and they said that he needed further testing for his autism. And he was doing, you know, like the flapping, as she mentioned. He walked around on his tiptoes a lot. He would line up his cars. He wouldn't play with other little boys. I would try to have play dates. You know, I wanted, you know, to be that mom who, you know, started, you know, I wanted him to have friends and stuff. And so I would have play dates, and he would just always be over in the corner. And he would either do that, totally would ignore people, wouldn't be aware of anything in front of him, and even if you would get in front of him, eye contact, be like, Casey, Caston, and he would like kind of like look right through you and just kind of like, you're not there, you know. And he would do that, and then when I would have other little children over, it would either be that extreme, or it would be the other extreme where he was acting up so bad, like we didn't really want to take him anywhere. We didn't want to have company over, you know, pretty much what maybe somebody would call tantrums. But being his mother, I knew that there was more to it, because, you know, he usually didn't have problems with things like that, and it was just noticing all the little things, as she already mentioned, like closing the door. He hates any like wreaths on the doors. Those would freak him out, and our neighbors would have one, and it would just be so hard if we parked the car over here to like drive. So I would have to park the car on the other side so we could go out this way.
Right.
We wouldn't have to pass the neighbors and their wreath, and just things like that. He still has the vocabulary of an 18-month-old right now, and he's 3. But we're really working on him, obviously, and we've gotten him a lot of, therapy and help and stuff, so that's helping a lot.
I've noticed a lot that, you see it more with mothers who that lack of connection they feel they don't have. And from my reading, I know that there is a lot of situations where a mom can find that connection.
Well,
I'm interested to hear about that.
I'm really blessed in his part. I mean, yeah, I have those days where I don't know if I can do it, like I really don't. But then, actually I wouldn't even say days. I'm more of a in the moment, like just for those 5 minutes, I just like, I don't know if I can do this, I can't. But then I find a way to, and I've been blessed with him is he's, in my story, this is me, and he's really loving, he's really touchy, and he would, he still tries to crawl in bed with me and go to sleep, he's a big cuddler, and that has been my personal, that's what got me through. I felt like something would just be like awful, and during my day, and this big, I wouldn't say blow up necessarily, but this giant tantrum happened, and I was having a bad day or whatever, and then 5 minutes later he was over it, and he just gives me this smile and comes over and hugs me, and that keeps me going myself, and I've been able, I do have, I feel like I do have a connection with him, I've been able to cultivate that, and now every morning he's so excited to go to school. He has got these big brown eyes, and they're all bright, and he goes, "Good morning," every morning to me. And now he goes in there and tells that to his teachers, and they're like, "Yeah, he always comes in now and says good morning to us and stuff." So,
he's happy.
Yeah.
That's good.
So that's what's gotten me, through it. We all find ways to get through it, but it's just those little things, literally, the little things that count, and the little things that matter, and so I don't know what I would do, honestly, for, like I said, myself. Yeah. I don't know what I would do. Like, I could not imagine, if he didn't want to hug me. That would be, like, I know in some cases you find those cases, and I've spoken to some of those mothers, and they have to, find their own way to have to deal with things. And, we all have our own struggles, talking to other mothers, whether you have a child with autism or not, you're going to have your own struggles at some point in parenting. So... yeah.
That's wonderful.
How did it feel finding out that he was autistic, and what did you and your husband discuss about it?
When we actually finally heard it from the doctor, we already pretty much knew for certain. So it wasn't one of those moments where I'm in shock, in the doctor's office and I'm crying or bursting into tears or something. We had gone to the Autism Awareness website, which is something I do recommend for people to do. It never hurts. Autism Speaks, yeah. And it never hurts, to go there. If there's anything of those signs, signs that you start seeing, it never hurts to just go check that out. Actually, I wish we would have done it sooner, than we did. Because like I said, for a while, I was like, no, he doesn't have autism. No, this, no, that. And
they have this pre-screening tool there.
Yeah, exactly, they do. And there's 30 questions, and he was 28 out of 30.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So being that he was 28 out of 30, I already pretty much, had accepted that and had a process. And of course, by the time you get the referral, and then you go to see the specialist and the neurologist and all this stuff, I had time to process that. When I first realized that, I did cry. I was like, I don't know if I'm prepared. I've never been one to be like, oh gosh, if I can say this the right way, then hope that it comes out right. I've never once, for one moment, regretted having my son, and having him in my life. But sometimes I just want to be a better mother. Like, you know, I just want to be the best mom I can be. And sometimes I'm just like, why am I not, you know, the perfect mother for him? You know, that's how I feel sometimes. But
you are. I mean, I've seen you with him. You love your son so much.
Just the way you talk about him, you seem to have so much strength, and you're so open.
Well, he's given me a lot of strength. But so for me, you know, just when I knew it, I think, like I said, we all have our battles and our challenges in life, and that's how we approach them. And I mean, what good was being depressed or down?
Right.
What end result was that going to get me or my son? So yeah, I cried about the first night, and the next morning I was like, okay. So now we take our pretty much entire parenting, and now we reset it. You know, there's a reset button. How do we approach this? And it's now more, like they say, knowledge is key.
Yeah.
So educate yourself, you know, and take that time and go do your research. And I have his dad has been very amazing in that aspect and that part of it. His dad has always looked into the nutrition part of it, like a lot, because a lot of times as a mother, I can't really sit there and study something and keep straight. And I've always been able to go to his dad for a lot of knowledge and for that. And it's just, you know, accepting it.
Right.
Accepting it. You have to accept it. If you don't accept it, you know, then
it's going to be a struggle for everybody.
It's going to be a struggle for everyone, and what good is it doing to your son? You know, and I also feel like I didn't want to be just a person who, I have a son who has autism, nothing changes. You know, no, I realized that I don't want him to grow up with the world necessarily always revolving around him. I make some adaptions, but he has a little sister, so she's kind of pushed in, you know, like, no, it doesn't go blue, yellow, green, red, I'm going to take the red. And he's all like, oh, you know, and he just like freaks out and whatever, and he's all like, you know, and I'm just like, no, it's okay, you know, so she's kind of helping mold him, you know, not to be so
controlled and consistent.
Exactly.
Let go.
Yeah, so I was actually, even though it's a handful, because she's 1 and he's 3, so even though it's a handful, I've always looked at it as I've been so blessed to have her too, because she's taught him so much, and they're little and being that he never was like social with anyone, you know, that helps him. It kind of forces him to have to always acknowledge her and always, you know, like even like when we came home today, you know, he always holds the door open, and he has to wait until she comes in, and then he can close the door.
Oh,
you know,
little gentleman.
He waits. You know, he waits and he'll wait because you know she's still kind of toddles along, and she's scared of the step, and she doesn't want to step, you know, just a little tiny bit. She doesn't want to step up it, and so it takes her a while, and he goes. They're like, just wait up, like, you know, let's wait, and it's like in a case like that, to teach him that, I would be like, okay, let's count. He loves numbers, absolutely loves numbers, you know, and spelling and all that and stuff, and so like, okay, let's wait for Sissy, you know, let's wait for Sissy, and instead of him usually like first off he would have a meltdown, you know, because no, I want to shut the door right now. Okay, so no, let's count to 5. You know, because he loves numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's how I kind of also taught him to hold my hand, like if we're crossing the street, you know, because he won't really pay attention to the cars, you know, bus. He's not aware of all that stuff. So we're like, okay, let's sing our ABCs, or let's see how high we can count, and then it takes his mind off of holding my hand and the fact that he doesn't want, because they're very independent, or the majority of. I shouldn't say every single, you know, because I'm not mother of all children with autism, but you know, it's trying to, like I said, you know, make it, I don't know, as happy of a childhood as you can for them, and try, you as a person need to be, you know, what's the word I'm looking for, like
flexible?
I
Yes.
was thinking elastic. Adaptable. Good word.
Exactly. You know, like to their needs, and my goal is still to raise a son, you know, that still, you know, cares about others and can acknowledge other people's feelings. And I don't want to always be like the mother who's always, you know, like, oh, well, he has autism, that means, you know, he can bite somebody, he can get away with. No, you know, it does take a lot of work. It's sometimes, you know, I don't want to do it. This is like the millionth time I've told you, literally, but, you know, they are so smart. They are so smart. And so it's just trying to do that and still, you know, be that compass for them and still teach them the difference between, you know, discipline and right from wrong and trying at least my best to do that.
And with therapies, they're making a lot of headway.
Yeah.
Now, to learn a behavior or to alter a behavior, it takes a very long time.
It's a process.
But it happens. It happens. These things happen. And of course, my background's music therapy, and that's just a small thing that can go with it.
Yeah.
That can get a child who's sitting in the corner who loves music to stand up and dance with other children around them, all doing the same thing. And it's amazing for that. Well, I have chills right now because I see it all the time. Autistic children find me. And you're in a class and you have a child who spends a lot of their time underneath the piano. And then you play that, you do that little music and movement, you put on their favorite song, everybody gets up and dances, and everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody's the same for that moment. And it's just so special and amazing, and they know it. They interact. They make eye contact with, you know, for the first time.
It's like they're not they're not like, oh, because they're so happy. They're just kind of
like everybody's here. They're a part of my dancing. I can't dance without my friends. My friends. And you don't get that a lot.
Well, you're a therapist. What are some other things that parents can do to help their children?
Well, I think it's really important to realize that all kids are different, autism or not. So what necessarily may work for one child is not going to work for another one. So it is, especially when you're dealing with certain behaviors, it's trial and error. You have to determine, first of all, we put it in terms of whether a child is hyper-responsive or hypo-responsive to sensory stimuli. You have to know what sets them off.
And what does that mean? Sorry.
Well, if they are hyper-responsive, anything that's going on around them, whether it be a colorful wall, lights, sounds, any type of sensory items, touch, it's going to set them off a lot easier. They're going to have a bigger reaction to it than a normal functioning person would, because they are unable to screen out the stimuli. Like if you enter into a room and it smells really heavily of perfume, pretty soon you're gonna kind of screen that out. It's not gonna seem as overpowering as when you just entered the room. But that's not gonna happen for an autistic child. It's gonna be there. And so is the noise, and so is it just bombards them. So.
And some of those things calm them down, right?
Some of the things
calm them, bring out
so
good
it could be
and bad.
positive or negative response.
It can be.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No.
He just rubs on my leg, like rubs. Calms him down.
So it sounds like he is a sensory craver because he goes to you, he wants hugs, he wants that contact. So he craves the sensory. A lot of kids will crave like deep pressure, and that's calming and comforting for them. They get a big heavy blanket and they just they just melt and they can calm down. So it's just finding what works for each child.
What are some activities like the music therapy that parents can do with their children to, I guess, help them?
It all depends on...
Hold on, we'll start that question again. Okay, what was that?
That's that again.
So what are some activities that parents can do with their children to help them?
Well, it depends what type of issues they're having and in what context, like socially. Like if I'm a therapist coming into a house and I know we have social goals, let's say that the goal is to get the child to look at me 7 times and make eye contact. Well, I'm not going to be like, hey, all in his face or something, because I need to let the child come and warm up to me. I might start doing an activity by myself and see if they're interested, and maybe they'll come over, or maybe they'll make eye contact and be like, hey, you know, what is she doing over there? So you just kind of have to like when I first introduce myself to a child, I'm not going to go bombard them. I'm like, hey, let's have a hug. I mean,
right.
I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wait till they approach me and at their comfort level. Now, let's say if I walk into a room and the kid is overstimulated. Well, first you're going to have a conversation with mom and dad and say, okay, you know, find out what's typical. And then you try starting to find strategies to help calm them down. Deep pressure. I don't know. Have you done like sensory brushing?
Yeah, we do actually.
Yeah.
I do it. The therapeutic brush. We do that every 3 hours.
Yes. And that's another strategy. It's called...
Sorry, what?
It's sensory brushing. It's called the Will Barger technique. And it's a sensory brush, a lot like a newborn brush.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's got the soft little bristles. And it's a brushing technique. You brush their arms, you brush their legs, you brush their back. And it's in a very specific pattern. And then you do deep pressure. And it's a routine to help regulate them to sensations that are coming into their body.
Oh, okay.
So the idea is that it's calming because it's bombarding them on a regular basis with sensation.
Right. So sometimes the parents, the way they have their house painted or anything, might be causing the problem, or
it depends on the child. Sometimes if things are too busy, and what we'll try to do, like because I come into the house, so I actually see the home, is like you said that sometimes the kids hide under the piano. Well, that's really typical because they like those tight little small dark places a lot of time because it makes them feel safe. So you might go and set up a corner of a room with like a refrigerator box. So when they need like a sensory kind of break, they can go in their little box, calm down, take some time, and then come back out and
that's a good idea.
do another activity if they want to. But they have a place to go and kind of deconstruct. So
awesome. Well, that was a great conversation. Sorry. Did you want to say something?
I wanted to add something because autistic children are really, they like their structure. And sometimes if you get on a good structure and you're doing it, it's hard to implement a change. And I think something that really helps is a picture schedule. And to be able to have it, if you use Velcro or something and cut out pictures or objects sometimes help too. And you have that in order, and if they can physically go over and take off that piece of picture or object and it represents bath time, a rubber ducky. Or a picture of a bath or a picture of a towel or something like that. Just different things that can represent something going through. If you have it on a week and you're on Monday and Thursday you're doing something new, you put that up there and they will see it right away and be like, what is this? What is going on? Or point to it if they're not vocal or can't, speak to you. They'll know something's wrong there. And you can say, you can go through each day and say, this day, this is what we're doing. This is how it's going to, we're going to get in the car. We're going to drive over there. We have to go pick up your little sister because dad's not able to
that really
get
does
your
help.
sister.
It does help in just even verbalizing what you do. I'm sorry?
You've tried it before?
We do have the calendar. I've worked with him a little bit. Sometimes he doesn't get the concept, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But, I've tried it a few times. But he's, just like the majority of them, that he works so well in a routine.
Yes, routines.
So
are
routines
key.
are very, that stability. So yeah, he really does well with that, and he gets very upset now on Saturdays and Sundays because he doesn't wake up and go to school.
Oh,
He goes, I go to school, and I'm like, no, today's Saturday. But Sunday he gets to go to church, and our church is really good with their special needs programs, so
that's
he has
good.
something else, which I think is awesome too, because now with his teachers and the Sunday school teacher, and just gradually I'm starting to be able to do more activities with him and take him to more play groups, and take him where he's not as upset because now he's slowly been introduced to other adults.
Oh, good.
And other, other nurturing adults, obviously, and other children,
Yes.
to where it's not as bad of an experience when he's given something new, so.
And as far as the picture schedule goes, that can be as simple or as complex as you need it to be. And a lot of times it's easy just to start off with literally a strip, a single strip of laminated paper, and then you have the Velcro strips. And you show them like, okay, this is food, this is,
Right.
and you just put it up there. And once they see it go up, they know that's what's coming next.
Okay.
So, I mean, you can start it off really basic and then work up to like the days of the week and having activities planned out by hour.
Oh, awesome.
So, or you can even go, hey, you can put a Velcro strip by the bathroom so that they go and they get the picture of the toilet and say, when they hand it to you, you know,
Yeah.
okay, I gotta go to the bathroom. Let's take it.
Oh,
Especially
yeah.
for nonverbal kids.
Yeah.
That's good.
Excellent. Oh
That's
my
a good idea,
goodness.
yeah.
Yes. It really helps in a classroom setting, but
Yeah.
I know it's got to be amazing in just your home life.
Yeah. Well, that was a great conversation. Thank you so much for sharing. And thank you for joining us for Mom Talk. We'll see you next week.